Alright, so this is the beginning of my midterm presentation, Catherine Bingham, period 5. So I wanted to add a disclaimer because there's more information in the audio than I do put on the slideshow, so do take a look at my transcript at the end of the presentation. So the topic I chose for the Civil Liberties Project is the government stepping in and interfering with people's daily lives by making masks mandatory. For the history of this topic, COVID first sprung up in the early November of last year, and it was described as a virus with flu-like symptoms. At this point, the government hadn't really done anything about it. It wasn't a large enough problem to worry about. But in February of 2020, the CDC acknowledged and announced a viral outbreak of SARS-CoV-2, also known as COVID-19 or coronavirus. It wasn't until March 2020 that it was then declared a global pandemic. The government had to step in and put a nationwide stay-at-home order and make masks mandatory for everyone. This topic matters because it brings awareness to people's actions and how it affects others. It also shows that it is okay for the government to step in and interfere with people and their rights to a certain extent. In this case, it's to protect the general public. This issue is showing up in the world today by being unavoidable because it's always in the news and there are constant reminders posted in every store or business you enter. Issues that come from this topic are rising cases because of ignorant people refusing to wear masks when out in public places, employers and schools not informing staff and or students about the amount of positive cases, rising death count, and employees being assaulted by anti-maskers. So what's currently happening in the world, there are currently rising cases and death counts. A mandatory mask mandate has been set in place, and there's talk of another stay-at-home order being put in place. If this issue isn't controlled, a few things could happen or continue to happen. Millions of more deaths around the world, a mandatory stay-at-home order which could result in job losses, companies shutting down, limited travel, and lots more government money being spent. What we can do to combat this issue is have another quarantine period. Now, not all jobs would shut down, such as grocery stores, hospitals, and pharmacies, but the majority would. However, the government should give bonus checks to the ones who had jobs but had to temporarily close during the quarantine period, and then the weekly checks to the unemployed, but not exceeding the amount that the working class make per month. Other things we could continue to do is refuse service entirely to people who refuse to wear a mask or the medically exempt. The medically exempt should not be out in public anyways and should be at home because they are more at risk of contracting the virus. Now, we already wash hands frequently, wear masks, and attempt to avoid large gatherings, so that's another thing we can continue to do so. Slide 11 is just the research I found about this topic and the minor assignments that went along with this final product. And slide 12 is the transcript for everything I've said in this presentation.